Okay, Panther Cubs, it is Wednesday of week 14. I'll read the questions, and then if you haven't finished your work, please go back and do that. Number 1, fill in the missing digit to make this a true statement. Number 3, if the growing pattern continued, what would be the 7th number? And number 4, Vanessa buys a box of 367 popsicle sticks, and her friend gives her 125 more. If the craft Vanessa is making requires 800 popsicle sticks, how many more does Vanessa need? Okay, if at this point you haven't done your work, we need to pause and resume the video once we're done, including UPSC. For those of you who are done, let's start checking. Okay, so we have 461 is greater than 46 blank. And we need to fill in the missing digit to make this statement true. Well, a digit is a number like 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 9. So if I know that the 400, 60, 60. So those really aren't important to me because they're the same. So I'm gonna look at just this part that says 1 is greater than. The only number that could go there is 0. 0 is the only number not greater than 1. Okay, number 2, I think you should be able to handle on your own. So, but pay attention to your facts. Number 3, if the growing pattern continues, what would be the 7th number? Okay, so there's a lot going on in there. The first thing it says is it's a growing pattern. Growing means that it's getting bigger as it goes. So I know that. And I also need to know the 7th number. So I'm gonna number these to see how many I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll need 6 and 7. Okay, so in order to figure out the pattern, or what it's growing by, I have to figure out how much is in between each two numbers. So I see that it's getting bigger, so I know I'm going up. So I can say 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Or I could do 12 minus 5 is 7. Okay, either way works. Now 12 to 21. Okay, we could do 21 minus 12. We could also do 12 plus what gives me 21. And I see that it's 9. Because 12 plus 8 gives me 20. So 12 plus 9 gives me 21. So this one is plus 9. Do you see why it's important that we must do between every two numbers? Because it's not always the same. Okay, 21 plus what equals 32? So if I don't know that it's 11, okay, because 21 plus 10 is 31, so it would be plus 11. If I don't know that, because, you know, just by looking at the numbers, I can come off to the side and do 32 minus 21, and I'd get 11. Now I'm starting to see a pattern here. 7, 9, 11. I'm going to make a prediction that this one might be 13. So let's see. 45 minus 32, or 32 plus what? Oh, look, it is 13. So if my pattern is 7, 9, 11, 13, I'm noticing that the numbers in between, like the amount that we're adding by, is going up by 2, or odd numbers. So to get the 6th one, I'm gonna have to do plus 15. So the 6th one is 45 plus 15, which is 60. But I don't want the 6th, I want the 7th. Now we did plus 7, plus 9, plus 11, plus 13, plus 15. So this one's gonna be plus 17. So 60 plus 17 is going to be my final answer. Okay, this kind of problem, you have to show work. And when I say show work, I mean show me the little upside down, like the little V caret thingies, and figure out how much is in between each two numbers. Every single pattern question that you ever do should have something like this as your work. Okay, number 4. Vanessa buys a box of 367 popsicle sticks, and her friend gives her 125 more. Vanessa is making a craft that requires 800 popsicle sticks. How many more does she need? Okay, so this is a confusing one. It's got a lot going on, so we're going to go step by step by step, or sentence by sentence by sentence. So sentence number 1 says Vanessa buys a box of 367 popsicle sticks. So I'm going to say that she has, because once she buys them, she has them, 367 popsicle sticks. And her friend gives her 125 more. So I'm going to say she got 125 popsicle sticks. Then it says, if the craft Vanessa is making requires 800 popsicle sticks, how many more does she need? So what that's saying, requires, means that I need it. If you are required to read at night, that means your homework is to read at night. You need to read at night. So if you're required, if it requires 800, that means that she needs 800 for the project. Okay, so for her to do this project, she has to have 800 popsicle sticks. The question is asking us, how many more does Vanessa need? So that must mean that she doesn't have the 800 that she needs, and we need to figure out how many more until she has enough. So how many more does she need to buy, or how many more does she need to borrow from a friend? You know, something like that. Okay, so for our plan, I'm going to just kind of go step by step. She has 367 and she got 125 more. Okay, so that'll be my step 1. If I had 367 and I get 125 more from a friend, what operation is that? Well, that would be an addition because we're getting more. So 367 plus 125. That gives us our total that she has. Okay, well, I'm sorry. That doesn't take care of all the information though. There's still that she needs 800. So step 2, we're going to start with she needs 800 and we're trying to figure out how many more. So if I know that she needs 800 and she has some, I want to know how much more. How much more means subtract, always. If the question says how many more or how much more, your final step in your problem is subtract. Okay, you can count on that. So number 1, step 1. Step 1 goes in solve 1. 367 plus 125. 7 plus 5 is 12. 9, 4 that she has in total. So we're going to check it to make sure we did it correctly. So we're going to do the opposite operation. The opposite of addition is subtraction. Our answer, work our way from the bottom back to the top. More on the floor, go next door to borrow 10 more. 12 minus 5 is 7. More on top, no need to stop. 8 minus 2 is 6. More on top, no need to stop. 3. So these two things match up. So that's how I know I did it correctly. Okay, but in my solve box, I don't have just, or in my plan box, I don't have just one step, I have 2. So I now know the total. I can figure out how many more does she need. So I'm going to do 800, take away 492. And that'll give me my final answer as to how much more she needs. Okay, so more on the floor, go next door, no one's there, go to the 100. Okay, trade my 100 in for 10 tens, still can't do my 0, take away 2. So I'm gonna take one of those 10s and turn that into 10 ones, and then I can subtract. Then my check is to do my answer plus 492, and I should get 800. Okay, I'm trying to wean you off of me doing every single step for you because you're gonna have to be doing this stuff on your own. So going forward with Morning Works, there might be some questions that I skip or that I intentionally leave out parts where you have to solve it. Okay, put this in your math folder so that you know where it is tomorrow.